Hi guys, so welcome back to Common Man but with special views. And today we have a very special person because we have someone who guides students in going abroad. This person helps students decide their future, their career paths, their college, the place where they're going to spend 4 years of their life. We have Miss Anjana Anand with us today.
Thank you, Vardhan, for having me here. I'm really excited, and I was going through your very, very impressive profile on LinkedIn, and I'm really happy to see you take this kind of an initiative. And I even had a chance to go through some of the past podcasts that you have, the episodes that you have done. And my name is Anjana Anand, and I am the principal counselor at I Know Me, which is INOMI, but it stands for I Know Myself. We are a self discovery based career and college guidance company that offers career guidance and mentorship to the high school and undergrad students for higher education in India and abroad. We are a team of very, very passionate counselors who love to work with youth like you and to help them find their career path. And, when we say self discovery based, we really mean it because it's very important that you find yourself in the whole journey before you start college. We are based in Gurgaon. Thank you for that.
So, as you say, I would just like to ask, like, why do you think college and career guidance is the right career path for you? First, we can start with, like, why do you think that you should be in this field, and then we can also talk about why is the like required students to take career counseling also. Like both types of questions.
Oh, yes, I get that question. So, why is it for me? For me, all my life, I have worked with children and youth, and the energy of the youth drives me. So, I would say that I love to say, stay young and energetic through the energies of the youth like you. And more importantly, I feel that it's so important that the children and youth are guided and mentored and coached because they are the ones who are essentially are the change makers of today and the change makers of tomorrow. So it calls upon us adults to make sure that we facilitate their growth in such a manner that they are able to contribute it meaningfully. It becomes all the more important because we are living in a very, very rapidly changing, ever evolving, technology driven world. So, the youth are vulnerable, I would say, that they can get lost in the whole journey. They have multiple opportunities. It's like plethora of opportunities, colleges, careers that are available. So it's so important that we help them to understand themselves and help them to carve a meaningful career path. So that's about why I'm here, and that's what drives me. All right. And whether you need a career counselor or not, or whether the youth should need, I think partially I've answered that. I would just like to say that, it's not that you cannot do it yourself. I'm just talking of the college guidance journey. But when you have a coach, when you have a mentor, when you have a guide, they help you discover yourself, your passions, your strengths, your motivation, and then they help you carve out a story that is for you, right? So that's the whole idea behind it. See, I'll take an example of we have gyms. We know how
Yeah.
to exercise, right? All of us know. I'm sure all we need to know is movement and we know how to move ourselves and all. Some of us go ahead and hire personal trainers. Why? Because we want them to customize our fitness journey and help us sift through the goals and make that journey even more successful and meaningful. Right? So there is nothing right or wrong about it. Some people feel that they can go about it themselves, which is not wrong. But when you have an external mentor to guide you, they help you demonstrate your story in the most unique way possible, right? And then the chances of success becomes higher. So you know that you're making an informed choice.
Oh, now it makes sense like why you need a counselor, because now with the analogy which you gave with gym, now it all makes sense. Like you can still do the exercise, but still you need, because that coach can make tailor programs for you and help you decide the best opportunity for you, like which diet is best for you, just like which college is best for you.
Right, true. So then, and there is lot of information out there. The Google Chacha is very powerful. The AI is very powerful. It will give you. But for the younger minds, that can also be very overwhelming and confusing.
Yeah.
So, what a counselor and a coach does is they help you sift that information for you. And that applies to any field. There are people who manage their finances themselves, but there are people who hire financial advisors to manage them, right? So that's how it is. There are parents who guide their children themselves. There are parents who also hire parenting coaches
Uh,
because they feel overwhelmed. So that's why we have all these, that's why you need mentors. Even in the corporate culture, you have mentors and coaches to guide the senior most executives also. They hire coaches because they want their journey to be the most meaningful, right?
mm,
So that's how it exists. But of course, it depends. You have the choice to take it or not take
okay.
it, right?
Yeah. So now I would like to go more on the personal phase of this podcast. So now I would like to ask you, how is life like in college counselor? Like any fun stories, or like what's a normal day of a college counselor like?
Oh, okay. It's very interesting. A normal day is basically the most exciting part of the college counseling journey for me is to interact with students like you, right? So every day we do have at least 4 to 5 meetings or sessions as counselors, which are essentially, of course, we follow a curriculum with every student. You know, we largely meet them once a week or once a fortnight, where we see that what is the student doing, what are the areas that they can enhance their resume for college, what are the challenges that the student is facing, how can we help them overcome their challenges, what is the career path that the student is moving towards, and how are they building their own knowledge and skills towards that career path, because that's what colleges are looking for, right? So one is about what you do in the classroom. What are you doing outside the classroom? What are the kind of engagements that you have? One could be hands-on engagement. You could participate in existing engagements. You could lead an initiative. All at the same time, how are you developing your intellectual curiosity? That's very, very important for the college. So how are you working towards that? You may need to read more. You may need to absorb the right knowledge. Again, that's where the role comes in. So, and to be equipped for these sessions to make the journeys of our students meaningful, we also have to constantly update our own knowledge, right? Because if I have 10 students who are going towards economics and finance, I have to make sure that each of their journey is unique enough for them, which is the best for them, right?
So there's a
And
lot of
then we
homework for
have
you.
that there's a lot of homework. So we have to really customize it for every student. And then we have bright students, of course, every student has a spark. That's my inherent belief, and I work from that space of belief. But largely in the so-called norms that we follow, some students are bright academically and are more driven, so they need to be guided in a different way. There are some students who probably struggle with basics, so we need to guide them in a different way. So we have the program customized for them. And that program also needs a constant overhauling. We review that. What is working, what is not working, what were the challenges we face. So we indulge in regular discussions internally to figure out what are the things that we can do. A STEM student is different from a student who's going for psychology, right? Who's a STEM student, I mean to say the pure pure engineering or math or technology driven student is different. So we have domain experts who actually do research in their respective domains to figure out what is it that is happening out there. And secondly, how a high school student can actually absorb what we are offering. So it's not just about, saying that, okay, this program, why don't you go ahead and do it? We have to thrash it out with them. We're dealing with teenagers, right? So we have to help them break it down into smaller steps. So what are the steps you're going to take this week? What are the steps you're going to take this month? And how it will culminate into that. So this is how the whole process works. So a day, you can say, is with meetings, discussions, building our own knowledge base, meeting clients, meeting new parents and students who have lots of questions, and then we help them find the answers. So that's how a day looks like. And it's very interesting, and it's ever evolving and quite dynamic, I would say.
That's great to hear. Now I would like to ask, like, any fun incident, like some moments where like a student replied with you some very interesting conversation, or where you're like, man, how dumb, or like, how, or like, oh, some type of different personality, like some weird incidences like that. Anyone which you remember you would like to share?
Okay, it will come. I don't know. I can't think of a fun because everything is actually fun. So there are things that happens. I really can't think of an incident per se, but what I can tell you is that, to me personally as a counselor, what gives me utmost satisfaction is when a student is struggling a lot means struggling on the social front, on the personal front, on the academic front. So primarily it's the social and the personal front that tends to affect them on the academic and the college career preparation front. So when that kind of a student gets a college acceptance, I think that's the most pleasurable moment for me as a counselor. It's even more pleasurable than a student who's quite bright and and gets into an Ivy League, so what to say, right? That's that. So it's not a fun moment. I
But
can't
uh,
recollect. I probably get it or along the way when we are having the conversation. So that's there. And interesting incidences. I mean, a lot of our students keep doing a lot of interesting projects and stuff around that, and which is interesting. So they develop stories, they develop books, they develop projects, they evolve in the whole journey. So it is there. So one thing I can say is that I don't like to operate from that place that how dumb is that? Nobody's dumb. As I said, everyone has a spark. It's just that they haven't found their spark. Some students find their spark in ninth grade, 10th grade, but some find it later also. I recently had a student who, I met this person who was really down in the dumps, that saying that, ma'am, I did not do well in grade 12, because of which I did not get a college and got into I mean, simple college in Delhi, which is called Surajmal, and got into BBA. He wanted to do engineering, couldn't clear, and got into that. And when I met him, his mother had reached out saying, please talk to him. He actually took a gap year to prepare for competitive exams for masters, which also he did not do as well as he had expected. So he did not have choices and he didn't know what to do next. I had an undergrad degree. But as we were speaking, he received an employment letter, a job offer from a big four company in India, which was so wonderful. And he said that I thought my graduation year, my college was not great, the faculty was not great. It wasn't a great experience. I wasn't learning. But only thing that I was very diligent about is that the 2 summers I interned with a startup. And I really enjoyed that. And I did that with whole lot of dedication and commitment. And the same person whom I was reporting to is moving to this big four. And he has offered me this job. And so just imagine, so I operate from the belief that every student has a Harvard. We help them find their Harvard. And every student has a journey and a destination, and that all materializes at the right time.
Right
So
time.
there are a lot of factors that come into play. And there is no perfect student, there is no perfect mentor, there is no perfect college. Okay.
Is it, yeah, is it true? I have heard this myth about a lot of college counselors, like they give you a reality check. Like I have heard stories where people go to counselors, they're getting like around passing grades, and they're like, I'm gonna apply to Ivy Leagues. I'm gonna apply for early decision. Has that ever happened with you guys? When someone has getting a
Yes,
30% and saying
I
I
had.
want to apply to Harvard.
Okay, so see, the thing is, Harvard, yes, it has happened. Even the students who are doing very well, so they are probably just doing very well. I had a parent and a student walk in that the parent saying, and finished grade 12, and saying that, my child has scored 98% in the boards. Now he wants to go to Stanford. You have to make it happen. And I had to take a back seat and say, sir, this is not going to happen. This is not how it works. 98% doesn't mean you think your child is doing very well, but this is not what Stanford is looking for. And first of all, he cannot apply now because the admission cycle is over. We've had such instances. We've had instances where students said, we're doing very well, but you're walking in just at the beginning of grade 12 and aiming for Harvard and Stanford and haven't done much in terms of the resume building. I'll have to give a reality check, right? That you can put in all your efforts and all, but as a counselor, it's my duty to tell you that you are competing at the global level where Harvard receives about 50,000 applications every year for a cohort of just about 1,500 or 2,000 that they are going to take. And each of those 50,000 are the toppers from their schools, have done brilliant work and have the SAT scores, which are in the top. So you cannot bank upon solely on that. How's your story going to be different? We will help you create that story if you've come at the right time. You can engage yourself in meaningful activities to make your story and create that impact and put together that story. But that still doesn't guarantee Harvard because the acceptance rate is just about 4%, 5%, 3%. Every year it's just going down. Right. And there is an anecdote, and that's a real experience, that an MIT admission officer said that the kind of applications we receive with the same applicant pool, we can create at least 2 more cohorts. So each of those application is incredible.
Yeah, we can't
Right.
just
So
basically judge ourselves from our marks.
yeah, so we can't judge just for marks, and even with the probably so-called the best of profile. But what I like to tell the students is that, see, you're not going to apply to one college.
Yeah.
You're going to apply to at least 8 to 10 colleges across. So choose those colleges very, very carefully. That's why That's another very important role of a counselor, whosoever you work with, is that you have to have safeties in that list. And those safeties also should be the one that you would love to go to. So you choose your safeties not because ki ye to matlab side hai, matlab mujhe nahi jana hai.
Mhm.
That's not it's going to be. So choose your safety also very carefully. The right course, the right college, the right location that will work for you. So even if you go to your safety choice, let's say you don't make it to your dream or your target, then safety is also a very good college for you because that's one which you'd love to go to. And remember, college is just a means to an end. It's not the end in itself. It's not where you go that matters more than it matters more what you make of it, how you make of it at the college, right?
Yeah. So now I'll come to common questions which my audience and my students have asked me to ask you because you being a reputable prestigious college counselor, so we like to ask you. So as I
Yes.
said, is it true that schools can be blacklisted, like the high schools can be blacklisted by universities? Like one of my audience member, he said he's from Pathways and he thinks that his school is blacklisted. Can that be possible?
Let me ask you a question that blacklisted by, let's say, the top universities. I'm just taking an example. Right? These are the top universities. Who do they exist for? They exist for the students.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, and if they believe in the capability of the students and they believe in their reasons for their own existence to groom each and every student that joins them as leaders for tomorrow, right? Do you think they would be blacklisting any school?
Like what
Just
I
think
think,
about it. No, just think about it. I'm asking you a question that I am the university. What is my objective in life? I have to bring up leaders of tomorrow, for which I chose students from across the world, right? Now, blacklisting a school means I'm not going to even look at any application from there, right? Do you think they'll punish the generations of students for this? And if yes, they do, let's say, let's 0.0001% that they do, would I want to go to that university? No, which means they're defeating their own purpose. Do you agree with me?
yeah.
Right? So if somebody says that I am not going to allow a particular segment of student from the society to be educated in my institution, to me, that institution has lost the purpose of its existence. Other than merit, there cannot be any other reason. In
I
the competitive spirit of the merit, if they are choosing it, that's fine. Other than that, they, for today's world that demands for inclusivity, that demands for equal opportunities, and that's what we all exist for in the field of education. Yes, you would like to be educated like that. Do
yeah.
you think any university will blacklist?
Like
And
from this
some myth or
perspective,
rumor, I don't know where it originates. Let me tell you that years ago, I had a student with me who's from another very prestigious school of Gurgaon. I'm not going to take the name, okay? It's very prestigious. People vow to go there, okay? And she came around and said, there is this being talked about that my school is blacklisted by these top two, Stanford, Harvard, some names she took. And I told her the same thing that I've told you now, right? So to absolutely, if one has to answer, I do not think so. And if they have, to me, that university is not the place for a student to thrive.
I hope that remains true for all the colleges and they respect today's world's inclusivity.
Yeah, that's what they are talking about. We are talking about we are in a global world and all. And that's why you are an IB student. That also talks about inclusivity. That talks about all those value systems, right? So there are myths and rumors that exist. I again say, if you present your best story and best case and you stand out, I do not see a reason that the college will reject you just because you belong to a particular school.
Uh, so now I would like to ask, from students' perspective, should one student major in university through their rankings, or like rankings it's a scam, or like it like misguides a student, or they should personally measure it through different criteria? Like what kind of criteria? Like I measure it through placements, but is that right or not? I'm not sure.
See, the thing is now it varies. Rankings are one way to just give you direction. Should you bank upon it completely? The answer to that to me is no, because there are a variety of rankings that exist. There is QS World Ranking, there is US News Ranking, okay, there is one national ranking there is Times Higher Education Ranking. There are a variety of rankings. Now, for example, you take UK universities. Oxbridge remains the top, Oxford and Cambridge, right? St. Andrews in the Guardian ranking claims that we are number one. They do say that St. Andrews say that, and all three are brilliant universities. They all have produced brilliant alumni now who are doing great work, and that is true of every college. So, should you be going by the ranking just to get a little direction, but should you be banking on them alone? No. What are the other criterias? Now you will have to look at the course. What course I want to pursue? How is the faculty looking there? Do that research. Who are the alumni? What are they doing? You talked of college placements. US colleges primarily, and UK for that matter, they have career service centers that help student get access to the potential employers for employment and internships. But do they place you directly? That's not the, it's not like, like in Indian colleges, you have that placement cell that only works for placements, and there's a 0 day and there are those days and
Yeah.
everybody goes through interviews and all. There are career fairs where companies are invited to meet the students, and students have the choice to register for those events and meet those companies, present their best resumes and all, or look for opportunities. But it's not like placement. Yes, so you should look at what are the students from that particular course and that particular college going for. Where are they getting jobs? What are the nature of jobs that exist? Connect with those people. Of course, that is at a later stage, but that is a good parameter to have. But it must align with your goal. What is it that you are looking for at the end of that course? What kind of a job you are looking at? The job markets in foreign countries for international students are getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah.
So take into account that. If you are going for a STEM course, it's fine. If your course qualifies as STEM, which is in finance and economics, largely it qualifies. So then it gives you the OPT for 24 months to work there. Otherwise, if it's a non-STEM, you just get the work visa for a year. And again, every university has its own parameters when they look at employment and all. So there are other factors to consider: courses, faculty, location is a very, very important factor. Remember, the US colleges, the weather in the different places are different, and there are extreme weathers. So do consider that as an important factor. You're going to be spending 4 years. If a student who has slightly who's prone to asthmatic conditions, may struggle in a cold country, cold location, right? So do look at it. Whether you are a city kid or a countryside kid, will you be okay with a smaller college or you want a bigger college? Do you want a smaller classroom or the larger classroom? What are you looking for? Are you looking to do research alongside? Does the college offer research opportunities? You need to do that research. Or you're looking for a co-op program, then you have to look at it from that. So there are different parameters, but these are largely that we ask these students to do consider seriously.
Yeah, so that was an interesting take on what you think, like how a student should measure what should have criterias for thinking that this college is good for them, this college is not good. So I really like that idea. Like we should come out of the ranking and think about other criterias and think it from the perspective
Yes.
of living there for 4 years.
Yes.
So now I would like to ask, like, what do you think about those new colleges, those startup level style colleges which are coming in India, like Masters Union? Like, what do you think about them? Like, they are totally different from the traditional universities. So, like, what is your take on it?
See, it's too new. So they're sounding very promising, but we can't say anything till students actually graduate and we get to hear their experiences. So as of now, on paper, what we have heard about them, they sound very promising, with industry connections and being established. And, they're claiming to be that we are going to make the education most relevant for for the students for today's time. So all that sounds very good, but cannot comment more than that as of now, right?
Uh, So now I would like to ask from the college's perspective, like, does colleges realize that, like how in today's world students can get so many fake internships, like get from their network just to get like a fake letterhead? Do they realize, and like how there's so many projects which they pretend to be successful but are like very failure? So do they realize that, and do they counter in that while evaluating the application, or how is it like that?
Yes, I'm sure they do. The admission officers who are reviewing the applications are very, very experienced. Each application doesn't get more than 5 to 10 minutes. And in that, they are able to sift through. So, and whether the fakes make it or not, may make it in some scenarios, because at the end of the day, they're just going through the papers and stories. But my message is that stay authentic, stay true to yourself. And because even if you, let's say, somebody makes it through the fake way, but you can go only that far with that. Because ultimately, you also have to survive in this real world. How long can you live a fake life? Right? And once you land up in college, it is a demanding life. You have to manage on your own. You have to write those long papers. You have to read. You have to, contribute and show. Your results will start to show. Then will you keep looking for, some way to create your whatever you're doing, your projects or anything? Is that the life you want to lead? So my question to those students who are doing is, and a request is, that stay authentic. It's better to be authentic, genuine, unique, and carve your journey and enjoy that journey thoroughly and grow with it. It's okay. You are aiming for Harvard, you don't get Harvard, you get another college. Make the most of it. Stay on top of your game in college. There are multiple opportunities. The whole world is out there, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to necessarily go abroad. You can go to a college in India, which is very good, and make the most of it. So carve your journey, and do they realize it? I'm sure they do. They are all experienced people. So do you want to live with that fear of whether they'll realize it or not and get into that? Might as well present your story, right?
Yeah, because it gets very like heartbreaking, annoying for many students who do not have network, and then they see their peers getting internships at high level MNCs without even like them being skilled enough for getting that internship. But then I understand as colleges must
Yeah.
realize it.
So I've had instances where parents have said that yes, we'll get you this letter, you write the essays, and I completely refuse.
Uh,
Because if the student has not done the internship, they'll not be able to write. See, it's one is about getting that letter from of okay that the student has done this internship in a high level MNC. When you are presenting your application, where will you write about it? You have to mention it. No, otherwise it's just a letter. So it's one of the things that gets passed. And in your essay or the story, if it doesn't come out, and if you're writing about that, let's say, what is the unique experience that you had in a work scenario, and you're writing about it, if you've not done that internship, you will not be able to write about it.
yeah, you
How will
can't
you write?
pay. You
You
can't
will
pay
use Chat GPT to write, and Chat GPT will give you a very, very
generic.
monotonous, standardized answer, which will not be unique to you. So, anyways, you will lose out over there. So, even if you've had the internship letter from a high level MNC, you won't be able to use it to your advantage. So, sooner or later, it will become a disadvantage rather. Yeah.
So there's no point of just sticking the checklist. You must make sure that whatever you have written that checklist aligns with your narrative, whatever you're setting.
It should holistically look an interesting story with every element, and it must align together to make that story. So I had this student, I met this person, he's not yet a student. And, he said, my dad is in a big business. And he says, why do you have to go to college? Why do you have to go abroad? What's the need? I have my own aspirations. And he said that my dad says that you have to join the business. What's the point of taking that degree? He said, I'm going to make you meet my dad and like, convince him that I have my aspirations and that's why I want to go to college. So there are different kinds of stories also that exist. Right now, this student, if he has aspirations, when he builds his story, he will write about his aspirations and how does it fit in within his journey. So that will make it bring the uniqueness out of it. So each story is unique. So internship, letters will only take you that far.
Yeah. And what I think, if you want to present a unique story, you can just present normal you're doing a household code. And if you have the talent, you can present a story
Yes.
from that. Because I've seen many of my
Exactly.
students who talked about how they helped their grandparents during COVID and still they got into Colombia, which was
Right.
shocking for me.
Yeah, and
But now
that's
I
such a
realize it.
powerful thing. But such a powerful thing that if you've genuinely done that work in these activities section in Common App, there are different categories of activities that you can put in. And one of the category is family responsibilities.
Colleges do
So
look at them.
they do look at them, right?
Got
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't need that fancy names. You can work in a small store close by or volunteer in a NGO for 4 years. That will make your stronger story than probably creating a fake NGO.
it.
Just giving you an example, right?
Yeah. So now you said like you don't always have to go abroad. So now I would say like suppose if a student wants to stay in India, he can't directly or he doesn't have a good chance in competing in competitive exams which are offered by government because he gives his IB in May and those by May he has all his applications ready, announcement ready, and in May they give exams. So, what other
Yeah.
good private universities there in India for major in economics and finance?
See, you have Ashoka. You've heard of Ashoka University?
Yeah, I have heard of Ashoka University.
Yeah, it's a brilliant university. And their economics program is very good. And the students are doing very well. Faculty is very good. You also have Kriya in Sri City, close to Chennai. That's a private college. You have Azim Premji. You have Plaksha, which has a BTech in economics, data science, and entrepreneurship. That's a program that is very, very good. And all these are very promising programs. And then there are other universities also. You have Flame also, which offers the programs. And these are very good college environments to grow in. And the advantage also is that you are in your own country. You can get an opportunity to work in the in your own country environment, which is a growing economy, right? There's a lot happening in the Indian market also. And you are the first citizen here. So you can get internship and job opportunities right here itself.
And
Like you
it's
don't have these
financially better
structures.
also for many families.
Financially,
Better.
yeah. So and it's cheaper. It's much cheaper than spending those 3 or 4 crores in US colleges for a degree,
There's
right?
also one
So
more. Yeah, yeah, sorry.
it's not right or wrong that this is right, this is it again what fits in with your circumstance. Should I say that you just have to take 3 CR loan and then go to US? I think I would say that please look at the Indian university. Why do you want to take a loan of 3 crores and go for that?
Yeah.
That's a burden. So again, it's circumstantial.
So now I would like to ask, you said in while doing the case study evaluation that it matters what's the impact. So what is your criteria as a counselor as what is a good impact? How do you measure an impact?
See, essentially, as you rightly yourself answered that, you can create an impact doing a family, carrying out a family responsibility also. The point again comes is how do you showcase that impact, right? And it also depends on that, what were the opportunities available for you? And within that context, how did you create an impact? So I don't have a scale of 10 to measure the impact. It's very student specific. So let's say a student in rural India who barely has access to basic education goes beyond his or her means to create an impact, even if how small. When that impact is presented and when it is compared contextually to a student of pathways who has multiple opportunities and does this much, so the impact, the value of that impact comes down. However, depends on how is this student versus that student in terms of the other elements that they have in the application,
Uh,
right? So there is not an absolute answer to that.
So one more important aspect, like talking about impact only, it's the research papers. So I while searching myself on the net, I've heard many people who are like some are against research papers. They are like, as a student, what research can you do? But there are many people who are in favor of research papers. They're like research papers are the most credential thing for you in your application after your academics. So what is your take on that? And does it matter where the research paper is published and what is published in that research paper?
See, when the colleges are looking at your application, what does research paper bring? Research paper shows that here is a student who is intellectually curious, who's gone beyond the classroom to explore something that they are passionate about. So research paper is a credible example to show that. Okay. So, and it shows that the student can do in-depth work. Having said that, now let's say you do a research in economics, right? On a particular topic, आपने बहुत मेहनत करके आपने एक research paper तो कर लिया, करवा लिया, whatever it is, publish भी करा लिया. लेकिन अगर आपके economics में grades जो हैं IB के 4 आ रहे हैं, your research paper will probably lose its value. कि जो आपने basics थी वो तो कर ही नहीं और research paper कर लिया. So the person who's reading your application will start to question the authenticity of the research paper.
Uh,
So, but standalone research paper is a credible element which does add a very distinct value in your application, especially to the top colleges, when we say, because when you submit your application, there is a you get a link to the portal and you have the opportunity to submit supplementary materials. And you can submit your research paper on that. Okay. Now, published, not published. If it is published, it adds to the credibility more. But if I haven't published my paper, do I lose out? I would say no, because your research paper will have a mentor also. You can't do research by yourself. So you must have a mentor to help you do the research, right? And the mentor's name is already always there in the research paper, published or unpublished. Okay, that adds value. Secondly, you can ask your mentor to give you an additional letter of recommendation where they say that, I have worked with this student, I've mentored this student for this particular research, and the student actually shows a lot of promise, as has gone beyond their own capability to enhance their skills and research on the particular topic that they are passionate about. So when a mentor says that, that also adds a lot of credibility to it. Okay, and you can always submit that letter of recommendation and have your mentor's name on the research paper. All these things are ways to add more credibility.
Yeah, makes
So
sense.
where it is published, not published, I mean, I it depends on when, because if you have got a paid publishing done, so the colleges know कि यहाँ तो पैसे देके publish हो जाता है, so what's the big deal about it? So look at it. So it doesn't matter, even if it is not published, your academic research, genuinely done academic research, adds a lot of value, no matter how small or big. Okay.
Yeah, so now I would like to ask, what is the tentative timeline for a person applying in 2025? Now, like you can say, only like half of the summer is left. Now, what can he do in the summer and what in the coming months, including the entire essay process and everything?
Now is the time to, before the summer ends, the students should have their at least the first draft of their essays ready. The college list should be absolutely ready. There is not much time to do more. Whatever you have done so far, you can only enhance and build upon one or two of those, or consolidate those. Because now is the time to start writing your story.
Yeah,
Because the moment the summer is over, you also have the school pressure because you are in a board class. You have to do the academics right. You cannot fumble there,
yeah.
right? So start, your essays should be ready, the first draft, by the end of the summer. And you should know which colleges you are applying to and what are the essays that are required there. And do you have all those means? Your standardized testing, your English testing, all those should be in place. Now
And
each day counts.
and then after the summer, then one should start writing their essays also, and then think about applying for early applications or not, like.
Yeah, your strategy and all has to be ready before the summer ends.
Uh,
For all our students, it's there. The colleges are decided where are they going to apply to. Only the super dream changes for one or two odd students who haven't yet, who want to take another attempt of SAT, like that. So that might change, but the basic college list is ready. The Common App essay drafts are getting ready as we speak. The statements of purpose for UK colleges are getting ready as we speak. Right? Because that need to go undergo reviews and feedback sessions. Because there'll be supplementary essays, especially for top colleges. There are many essays you have to write, and each of those are important.
yeah. That's why we must have a college list that we can accordingly decide how many essays we have to write.
Yeah, you need to plan that out. Each of those essays, you can't just have a cookie cutter approach and put it everywhere. Then you will not be able to get there. You have to customize your essays,
Yeah.
tailor make it. Okay.
So now, lastly, and the last question which I would like to ask you for this engaging conversation would be like, now, what do you think? How is the application landscape gonna change? Because it often changes after each 5 to 6 years, 10 years, and like there's different. Now, what are colleges looking for?
See, the colleges, it's getting more and more competitive. The acceptance rates are coming down every year, we are noticing. With the introduction of AI, colleges are seeing better crafted essays, right? So, which means your essays have to be even more, much more unique in their stories, how you present it. Because the chat GPT is making it even more cookie cutter approaches, right? You cannot afford to make a one little mistake on the grammar part or presentation part of your essays. Because now AI is there to correct that. So you have to, read and reread to see that, yes, how can I make it stand out? Am I presenting my story? Is it engaging enough? Is it interesting enough? Is it me? Is it the same story that is coming out through my activities? So this is going to become more and more challenging. It's for the world to see. We don't know whether, for right now, the essays are there, but tomorrow we might see more of videos,
Yeah,
right? We may, I don't know, interviews are there, though they are not the deciding factors. It's alumni interviews. They may become more important. We are yet to see that. Standardized testing is coming back because colleges are recognizing that the global benchmarks are important, and this is a good way to look at and assess the capability of a student. And they will be looking at more skills oriented because the world is changing. How is the student showing its resilience?
yeah.
Right. So you will notice these. So, but the competition is definitely going up because the number of applications have gone up tremendously.
It's a very changing and very, I would say, overwhelming world ahead of us.
Yeah, it is overwhelming, but at the same time, you have to tell yourself that I am doing my best. I have done what I love to do, and I'm presenting my story in the best possible manner, and I'm open to learning. So it doesn't matter. As I said, college is just the means to an end. College can't be the end goal, be all and end all, right? You're going to college to learn and grow for the life ahead.
Yeah.
And you must learn to enjoy your college life also, the different culture and all. So enjoy this journey. It is overwhelming. And all you need to do is that every day you give your best and become the better version of yourself from yesterday. That's it. Take it as a growth journey. It's life. If
It's
you
all
think
about life.
college is overwhelming, life is even more overwhelming,
This is just a
right?
trailer of the movie.
Yeah, so that's why I might as well enjoy the movie
Yeah.
and the trailer, everything that comes along with it, and go with the spirit of I can handle it, I can do it, I will take the plunge. And doesn't matter, I will face it. You faced COVID, right?
Yeah.
You still took all those exams during COVID times, you studied. Everyone did. And you managed to. You have sailed through your journey, so you will manage to do it now also,
Yes. So that
right?
was, yeah. It was great to have you, ma'am, and I really love how you gave insights into college counseling, the life of college counselors, and helped us to answer my audience's questions. So I was fortunate enough to have you as a guest on this platform. It was really great to have you.
Thank you. I had a lovely time. It was a wonderful conversation. I loved engaging with you, and you asked very insightful questions. Thank you so much for having me here. All right. And loads of luck to you and to all your fellow students and listeners. Okay.
That's great.
All right. Thank you, Vardhan. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye
ma'am.
bye.